This has probably been overdone, Jim, but war. What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
There you go. So war, we got a lot of them. One surprising one that's just unfolded in the Middle East. Syria's down for the count. Down one, down two, down out for the count. Assad is gone.
You know what's funny? And not very many people are talking about it. Do you realize ever since that takeover by the rebels, the United States has been bombing ISIS in Syria?
Yes.
In Syria.
Not too many people know that.
So was this some sort of conspiracy? The United States, we'll let you take over, but we want to know where ISIS is.
Do you remember Trump saying, "I beat ISIS"? There's no more ISIS.
Yeah, well,
They weren't.
he lied again, Terry. Can you imagine that he lied?
Okay, here's to my family members who say, "Yeah, but there was no wars," or my Christian friends that I meet with for coffee who say, "Yeah, but there were no wars, no new wars under Trump." And I'm thinking, you weren't paying attention, were you? Because all this stuff's going on, and you're blinded by the orange light of Orange Jesus? I don't know. Okay, so Syria, why is the U.S., do you have any idea? Have you heard why they're bombing?
Well, I think just because they're afraid ISIS is going to be the main control point, and they want to go after Israel. Don't forget, this is a glorious...
Israel's bombing Syria, too.
Syria is what they've announced. This is glorious for all of Islam. All of Islam wants Israel out. That's what Syria. That's what the rebels announced.
So the rebels are deposing Assad, and they want him removed because it's glorious for Islam.
Yeah.
Can you play that one by me again? Make sense to me?
I don't know. I guess I should pay more attention, but that's what they announced. This is glorious for Islam.
How is it good for Islam?
Worldwide, this is glorious for Islam.
Oh, prestige worldwide.
Well, you know what? Israel immediately bulked up their border to on the Golden Heights and all.
They
Golden
bombed
Heights.
ships. Syrian. The Syrian Navy.
I think it's the end of the world. You get ready, folks. Christ is coming back.
Okay, I'm not sure about that.
We don't have to go there. Come on.
No, I like that because, you have your views on how it's all going to unfold. I'm just looking at the dots, and you're making the pattern because that meets whatever you've read and believe. But the dots we can both agree upon. There are sunken Syrian naval vessels in the harbors. The Russians use those harbors. The Russian ships, I don't think, have been sunk, but the Syrian ships have been sunk.
Really? I didn't know that.
Israel.
Oh, what the heck?
All right, it's starting to get a little...
Well, I guess you don't want to beat up Russians.
Okay, now let's
But apparently this was... See, don't forget, Russia, Assad is the guy's name. They backed him.
Bashar al-Assad.
Yeah, you don't have to swear at me.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, they backed him. So this is Russia's failure.
Why did
This
Russia back Syria? Why did they back Bashar al-Assad?
Getting a lot of oil? I have no idea.
No, I think you're right. It might be having to do with gateway through the Middle East, through Syria.
Well, it takes you all the way down to Israel.
If that was your goal, if your goal is to get oil from Saudi Arabia or somewhere else further south, then that...
Well, Iraq, Iran, everything's right there.
So pipelines, maybe pipelines have something to do
Maybe
with it?
pipelines.
Okay. One thing I have heard about the U.S. bombing in Syria is sending a message to Iran, and Iran sponsors Hezbollah. It sponsors Hamas.
Yeah.
It sponsors
almost everything evil on earth.
Everything in terms of evil. What do they call it? Extremist Muslim terrorist beliefs. Oh, I shouldn't have said the T word there. We might get censored for that.
Oh, fine.
Anyway, it was to send a message because they use some of their bunker-busting bombs, their GBU something, which is to send a message to Iran saying, if we can destroy these weapons caches buried beneath the Syrian mountains in whatever the name of them are, message to Iran, we can hit your nuclear facilities that you think are safe below the ground because you built them so far down and you think you're safe. But the new technology that the U.S. is doing in Syria, don't quote me on this, is bomb goes 200 and some odd feet.
Oh, yeah, before
and the second bomb goes down and expands that to...
Holy moly, yeah.
So we're talking about 500 feet now underground, and as far as we know, with the radar, ground penetrating radar, whatever they're using to find out how far these bases are, these bombs will get you. They will find you.
That's amazing. It's funny because I know they said to Putin, or I think it was the leader of the military in the United States talking to the leader of the military in Russia, said, listen, you have no idea what we got. No idea. So basically, watch it. Don't be declaring war on us.
And yet Putin's the one who's been saying, watch it. You don't know what we got.
Well, they're probably both right. Who owns the drones, Derry? Who owns the drones?
Was that they're on their hotline to each other? Putin, was that you? What are you doing sending those?
Make a great movie. The world just surrenders all the power, and they go nuts for some kid with a drone in his backyard.
Oh, there was a movie about that. The kid who used his tech to start he did a simulation.
Oh, yeah. I forget what that was called.
1980 something. Oh, only you and I, being old farts, could remember that kind of movie. Okay, so we are on to the whole notion of Syria has fallen. Bashar al-Assad, there was rumor that his flight had done a U-turn and crashed. They were thinking he was killed, but they took the beacon off his plane so it wouldn't be pinged, and he went on his way to Moscow, where he was safely. Now a ophthalmologist or an eye doctor at one of the lens crafters.
Wouldn't they just retire him or something? Won't they just retire him? He sits in a mansion
He was an
somewhere?
eye doctor. His father was some kind of... Well, his father was the chief, the dictator.
Yeah, yeah.
He was designated the dictator heir apparent when the other dictator heir apparent died.
Which one will be with following Trump? What do you think? Do you think it will be Barron? You think it'll be Barron?
Will be switching from Syria to Barron?
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, you think about it.
So dictator to dictator, is that what you're saying?
Well,
what is this succession?
Isn't this how other dictatorships worked?
Well, you wouldn't let Don Jr. Be in charge.
So Ivanka?
And you wouldn't let Eric be in charge. And we know that Kimberly Guilfoyle is now ambassador to Greece. I'm sorry, I gotta laugh at these things. Okay, Dad, can you do me a favor? Get my ex out of here. I don't believe it. Yeah, okay, so what is the line of succession from Trump? You got me. You said Ivanka. Okay, I'll have to buy into that because I got no other alternative.
Just think of the name that fits. Barron Trump. 6'6", 7". Good-looking man. Young. Could hold down a dictatorship forever.
Can he play basketball?
Jeez, I wonder. I don't know.
I
was just wondering because I can't help but believe that Trump has absolutely no desire for America. I think he's got every desire for himself. That's my belief.
Yes, I agree.
What would then be the steps? He's already put in play the steps to maintain his leadership forever because they'll just lie that the country is unsafe to have.
There are no checks and balances now.
Yeah, when the time comes, you could just create a condition that will make it that, okay, we're just going to, we're not going to have an election. It's not safe.
Declare a state of emergency.
State of emergency. We're not going to have an election, but we will. Don't you worry. We will. But, right now, for the sake of your king for the country, we're going to have to stay in power.
I like the kingdom slip.
Yeah.
I'm wondering about all this stuff because
I'd be amazed if we're all wrong
he's
and everything.
Even inaugurated.
Yeah,
the chaos before he's even inaugurated.
I don't think I'm wrong, and I'm not a politician, really not. I'd be blown away if I am, and he turns out to be this wonderful, nice guy. I think behind the scenes he just loves fear.
Did you change tracks again?
Yeah.
You were speaking of Trump when you said it turns out he's a nice guy?
Some people are going to end up worshiping this guy. I mean,
they already are.
There will be statues of Trump in Washington.
Well, you know what happened to the statues of Bashar al-Assad?
Yeah.
You saw pictures of that.
But how many, 40 years after? That was his dad's statues, I think they were tearing down. No, they were his? Oh, okay. Which one were they riding like a float down the road? What was that?
Sorry?
Was that the dad? No. They were all sitting on one of them, dragging it down the road.
Jeez. Yeah, be careful what you wish for. So in terms of dictatorship. All right, do we have time to squeeze in Ukraine? And speaking of world events and war, what is it good for? Because we know that there's some talk of peace. Did you hear that? Have you heard?
How could there be peace?
Peace in our time. You remember the paper from Chamberlain as he got off from having the deal signed with Hitler? That's the kind of peace. The peace where Putin is forced to sit down and Zelensky's forced to sign over the 4 provinces in Crimea for nothing. So all the 3 years of fighting.
Incidentally, has the North Korean army been annihilated by Ukraine?
Pretty much from what I've read, but I don't know for sure. You and I, we don't have access to the top secret codes. They won't give it to us.
Thank God.
We don't know. Well,
I'd sneeze and launch a nuclear war or
I
something.
wanted to see a satellite feed. I want to be in the room, where they give the orders. No? Okay.
So I have no idea, like my hope and prayer that Trump won't be so stupid as to get out of NATO, won't be so stupid as to not back Ukraine, because look at all the countries that Russia took over and became the Soviet Union.
Okay.
He wants the Soviet Union back. Ukraine's
sent
just the
you
beginning.
a Piers Morgan panel discussion on a couple of guys who were wackadoodle and a general who sort of agrees with the history that I've been reading and the history that you are aware of post-Soviet Union, post-Cold War. And none of it is speaking well to Putin's intentions. Ukraine is it. That's a battleground.
Yeah.
And if you allow Ukraine to fall, then that's it for Europe. They will go dominoes.
Yeah. He wants the glory, for whatever corrupt reason,
He wants
of
the
the
empire
old
back.
Soviet Union.
The Empire Strikes Back. That's the name of this sequel.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, we're the guys in the white and the lightsabers. We're those guys.
Yeah.
Is it Zelensky?
I guess, and I feel so bad for the guy. He looking tired, man.
Well,
It's tough to stand strong in what's going on,
Well,
especially with Trump.
I heard part of the peace treaty is he'll give up the territories if he's guaranteed admission to NATO. Trump's position is no NATO, give up your position. So Zelensky is between a rock and a hard place. What do I do?
Yeah.
And unless EU steps up, and I mentioned Poland, look for them. The Jim and Terry Show, talking about war. What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
Unless it's regime change, maybe.
Oh, God knows. I don't know. Jeez.
Signing off.
You
Bye
got me
for now.
sleeping here for a minute.